Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Gyan Dive. In this episode, we're going to be diving into a very special segment with Dr. Pankaj Jain again. If you haven't checked out part one, go ahead and do that. You're going to gain a lot of insight from him. He is a powerhouse of knowledge, he has so much wisdom. And in that episode, we kind of cover how he made his transition from a software engineering field, like the IT industry, into religion, like, and how he pursues that, as well as just like insights about Hinduism that he learned along the way, because he's a scholar, as you know. And in this episode, we're just gonna dive into Jainism. And as someone who didn't know much about Jainism myself, I gained so much knowledge from this episode, and I hope that you guys do too. So dive in, guys. So Jainism has a concept of Aparigraha.
Mhm.
Could you give us a little bit of insight into that? Like, what is it
Yeah.
exactly?
Yes, yes. So Jainism, interestingly, many words start with negation, aparigraha,
Right.
non-accumulation, ahimsa, non-violence, and so asteya, non-stealing, and so on. So what aparigraha tells us is to not have attachment to our possessions,
Mm.
not to be, not to, you can own things, but you should not be owned by things, right?
Hmm.
So it's not about making everybody a monk or a nun. That's
Right.
impossible. Even in
Yeah.
Mahavira's time, Mahavira was contemporary of the Buddha, right? So even in his time, there were four sections of society: the monks and nuns, but also householder men, householder women.
Right.
So those householder side of the society supported the ascetic side of the society. So what the idea was that everybody cannot become a monk or nun, and not everything can happen overnight. Not everybody can become monk or nun overnight. So it's
Right.
a process of letting go of the attachment to things like cars or clothes or houses or even other family members. So that's a step-by-step journey towards final goal of enlightenment or moksha or ultimate liberation. But that may take many, many lifetimes. Even for Mahavira's case himself,
Right.
it took many, many lives to be able to reach enlightenment on that Diwali night 2,600 years ago. It takes a lot of process. So it's a slow and steady progress, growth towards spiritual liberation and letting go of the abandonment of these materialistic possessions and attachment to the things. We should not be owned by things. We may own things, but things should not own us. That's one lesson
I
of
think
Aparigraha.
this is like so relevant in today's day and age. Um, because we live in like the most consumerist, status obsessed
Mhm.
era in human is history. So like how can we actually practically apply this in today's day and age?
Yes.
Like you said, it's like it's something that even back then in Mahavira's time it was so
Yes.
hard to do. So how can
Yes.
you possibly do that today?
Actually, your generation is already ahead in some ways. I'll tell you how. When I came to this country, late 90s, I
Right.
had no clue about minimalism. Now, minimalism is a new trend. People of your generation want to live in smaller houses. They want to be able to move around and explore the world on your terms,
Right.
right? With as less baggage as possible in every way, right? So this minimalism can be compared with aparigraha, right? Have our needs less, have our attachments less, have this more. So even Jain monks and nuns and Buddhist monks and nuns, they had so less, almost no belongings that they could move from place to place. They were not allowed to stay for more than 3 days at any place. So they were always walking around, moving around,
Wow.
marching forward. So something similar is happening.
Right.
Not, it's not one-to-one comparison, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying that things are changing even for your generation. People are tending towards minimalism, right?
Right.
And also another great learning that I can recall is from Mahatma Gandhi. He said that people who own all of us who own these things, we should treat us ourselves as trustees for the planet. We have
Mm.
these resources, so planet has trusted us with these resources, not to abuse them, not to consume them, but to return to the planet in even better form, if possible. Let's strive for that,
Right.
right? So, and then another line I'm recalling from Dadaji Pandurang Shastri Atavale, he used to say that nature is not for upabhog or upyog, consumption or exploitation.
Mm.
Nature is for upasana, reverence. So from upabhog or upyog, let's bring in the perspective of upasana. If we
Right.
treat entire planet with
Devotion.
those kind of devotion and reverence, we will never exploit, we will never, stamp on an ant even. We'll treat
Right.
even ant with respect. Ant
Yeah.
has every right to live as much as we have every right to live. So all those, so when we consume more, we should remember that these resources are coming at a great cost. When we change our phone every year, every phone that we use coming at a great cost of mining from forests and mountains across the world, those rare earths minerals, that tungsten and so many other, they come with great process of violence to nature. So
Right.
let's use it with great care. Let's not just keep using and throwing, use and throw. That will really destroy our planet. So upasana and trustee, all these are great words from Gandhi and from Dadaji that we can adopt as we use and as we adopt to this
Yeah.
new world.
Yeah. I think these are great insights because it's so relevant to today's day and age. We're constantly like upgrading, we're constantly
Mhm.
throwing things, using them.
Yeah.
So like
Mhm.
I think we should all look at it through the lens of that, through the lens of reverence.
Yes, yes, yes.
Beautifully said.
Mhm.
Okay, so can someone practice non-possessiveness without completely rejecting comfort, success, or ambition? Or are these fundamentally contradictory?
No, one can practice aparigraha, non-possession, as long as that attachment is as less as possible. So, like I said, one can own things, but
Right.
one should not be owned by things. If
Yeah.
that one line, right, and then this reverence attitude, so we can keep using planet's resources, but as long as we think that we are trustees for these resources,
Yeah.
right, and we use them with great gratitude and try to refill the planet as much as we are taking out from planet. If we
Yeah.
can do these things, I think there is no problem in using the resources of the planet. Hmm?
You've written about Freudian psychoanalysis and Indian psychology together in the same academic work. There's a mental health crisis in our generation. There's anxiety, depression, burnout is so rampant. Where does modern psychology fall short that the Gita actually addresses?
It's a great question. Therapy treats the suffering, and so we need therapy, right? We need
Yeah.
all the therapy. We need Western modern psychological therapies. But Gita asks who is suffering. So we want both. It's not one versus the other.
Right.
We need the Bhagavad Gita, we need the therapy also. So therapy can treat the suffering. Bhagavad Gita asks who it is that is suffering, and we want both. So if somebody is struggling with, let's say, anxiety or depression, we have to ask them to go see a professional. So Gita does not replace that,
Of
right? It
course.
works alongside it. Right? What Gita does is that it inspires us to look underneath who we are, why are we suffering, who is that self that is so wrapped up wrapped up in outcomes that anxiety is building up and making that person suffer. So that is how Gita deals with these questions. So we need both. I think that's my answer. Yeah.
And this is something that's slightly off topic, but
Mhm.
what is something that you think has deeply resonated with you throughout your career? Like you have so many varied experiences in different religions, different
Mhm.
texts, different philosophies. So what is one teaching that has just deeply resonated with you like throughout your time?
Many teachings from the Bhagavad Gita
Yeah.
and from Jainism, non-violence, and so on. I and my entire family remain strongly vegetarian for ethical reasons, for ecological reasons, and many other reasons, right? Environmental reasons and even scientific reasons.
Right.
And Bhagavad Gita, the entire premise of the Bhagavad Gita of Krishna telling Arjuna to be an instrument for the greater good, right? So, what is that, like we discussed earlier also? What is it that is, how can I align my dharma with what I can do for myself and for society? So that was some of the things that always resonated with the example of Arjuna himself and other Pandavas and how they worked for the greater good, even sacrificing their own values in some cases. Arjuna didn't want all that violence to happen.
Right.
But Krishna says, forget about your ego. It is not you who is fighting. It is you're not killing anyone. And you're doing not just for your ego. You're doing for greater good. We have to reestablish good values back in society at any cost now. It's too late, so let's do it now. So all those value, all those examples, what we can do for ourselves and for our culture, all
I
those
think
things.
that's increasingly important because it right now in this time we're ever so like individualistic, and we mostly focus on ourselves without thinking about
Mm-hmm.
the greater consequences or the greater
Mm-hmm.
good at
Mm-hmm.
times. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that teaching is especially important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, sure.
Um, so this is again like this might like throw you off a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
this is about like Jainism. I just wanted
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
Yeah.
well versed with
Mm.
Jainism. So if there's someone who's just new to Jainism and wanted to know like,
Mm-hmm.
a brief introduction or like some of like the main tenets, how
Mm-hmm.
would you say it?
Oh, that's it could be easy or difficult because it could be short answer, very long answer. But what I can do best for, especially for your generation, people of your
Yeah,
generation, is I would hesitate to send you to one text or one teaching. It's a comprehensive, again, it's another ocean to
of
explore,
course.
right? So what I have tried to do is I've created all these free videos, free shorts, free entire course on Jainism, completely freely available on India, Government of India's portal called Swayam, in which I
Okay.
have this full course on Jainism.
I
But
will
again,
definitely,
don't,
yeah,
yeah, so don't dive into it, but take a step, try one session on Jainism. Try one session on
right,
Hinduism. I have these Hinduism courses, Bhagavad Gita, entirely complete
right.
Bhagavad Gita, first time probably done complete translation on YouTube in English for people of your generation. So all these are resources on my own channel called Discover India, Bharat Darshan, and my handle is Prof. Pankaj Jain, Professor Pankaj Jain. So Prof. Pankaj Jain. Easily, you can Google me easily. So on all platforms, especially YouTube, all these long videos are on YouTube. So just take one step at a time, keep exploring, keep trying. Even Buddhism I have to do more work, and I
Okay.
all these great Indian traditions are so relevant for modern society, modern civilization that we all live in. So try these ideas, try these courses, try these shorts, and
That's a
see what
great source of
matches.
knowledge that I will definitely check out, and I urge everyone who's watching this to also check out because there aren't a lot of
Mhm.
right sources that we can go to in this time. Like there's many, like you said, there's a
Yes,
plethora,
yes, yes, yes.
but there aren't a lot. So,
So yeah, what I've tried to do is stick to the academic perspectives mostly, yeah, without taking any, bhakti side
right.
or gyan side or
Yeah,
karma side, non-dual side, dual side. No, it is for people of your generation who have
right.
little interest in sectarian debates within Hinduism,
Hmm.
sectarian debate within Jainism. You
Right.
people need just, at least you need to wet your feet before you dive into the sectarian debates. So
Of
I've
course.
tried to avoid all those debates and keep it very simple for people of your generation.
Okay. But still, so can you
Hmm.
like briefly in your own words talk a
Yes,
little bit
yes,
about
sure.
Jainism? I love
Yeah, again, go to
that.
the word, right? So to go to the etymology of the word Jain. Jain comes from the word Jina. Jina is one who conquers. What
Right.
does he conquer? What does that person conquer? Gender free, because there is a female Jina also. There are many female Jinas also. What they conquer is inner passions, inner enemies. How do we conquer? By self control. How do we practice self control? By 5 great vows. The 5 vows are Satya. Satya is easily translated as truthfulness, but Satya comes, again, go to the root of the word Satya, comes from the Sanskrit root Sat, which means that which stays forever, that which was never born, that which will never die. That is soul. Soul
Yeah, I
never was
was gonna
born,
say.
soul will never die. So soul force. So
Right.
Mahatma Gandhi used the word Satyagraha a lot. Satyagraha, Satya Agraha. He did not translate as truth force. He said soul force. Satyagraha is soul force. Agraha is force. Satya is soul.
Yeah, I would have thought it was like like
Satya. Everybody
Satya
thinks
is the
Satya is
truth.
truth, but that's a partial translation. It's not
Okay.
wrong, but it's not complete wrong. Satya is coming from the infinite existence, is the literal translation of the word Satya, which means that which is true will stay forever. So that's
Right.
why we take Satya as truth. Right? So Satya is the first pillar of Jainism. Satya after Satya, being truthful to your existence. Be
Mhm.
truthful to your soul's eternal existence. Do things that will make your soul become infinite, free, free from all attachments, free from fear of dying. free from every kind of fear. That is the truthfulness that Jainism inspires us to reach. Even I'm discovering, as I'm telling you these answers, I'm learning and relearning these great words that our languages give us, our tradition give us. So Satya, I never said all these things. First time it came to my mind because you asked. Second major pillar is, of course, non-violence, ahimsa. So ahimsa is not just, no global conflicts and no wars. Ahimsa begins at my personal level, how I'm living in this world. As I breathe, am I ingesting any microbes? It starts there. Nobody else, no other culture, no other philosophy went to that extreme, that ultimate observation of avoiding all kinds of violence. Am I drinking water with some microbes? How can I reduce those? Am I eating any food that involves violence? How can I reduce? I cannot stop completely, but how can I reduce my violence? So if I'm eating a cow, I'll switch to maybe goat. If I'm eating a goat, I'll switch to egg. If I'm eating egg, I'll switch to dairy.
Right.
If I'm taking dairy, because that's also violent, that's also a lot of violence happens now in cattle. If I'm on dairy, I'll switch to becoming a vegan.
Right.
So it's not overnight becoming a beef eater, cannot become overnight vegan.
Right.
Jainism understood that. So it's a gradation. Even after becoming a vegan, even as a vegan, if I'm eating, let's say, potato or onion or garlic or cauliflower, even that is more violent than eating simply rice or mango or bhindi, okra. So
Wow.
even after
there's like levels to it.
Even after becoming vegan, avoid the vegetables that come from underground, because that will involve more violence. You have to dig and you have microbes attached to things growing underneath.
Yeah.
Even after that, so if I'm eating just, let's say, just rice and dal, right? So that's least violence. Even then, am I eating after sunset? Avoid that, because after sunset, if you're eating, again, that might lead to more violence because some microbes might be killed. After sunsets, many microbes automatically germinate, many bacteria, many viruses. So avoid eating after the sunset.
Wow.
To that extent, Jainism carefully planned, carefully designed the diets for not just monks and nuns, but also for householders. So many householders have this journey to take in their lives. Like I said, all
progression, like letting go.
Exactly. So that is, so first was Satya, second was Ahimsa, I just described. Satya, Ahimsa, Aparigraha, we discussed already in earlier time. Reducing the attachment to our possessions. Right? Then Asteya, not stealing others' property, not stealing others' ideas, not stealing others' words, no plagiarism, all that is theft. So avoid that. Then the last is Brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is not just celibacy, but be truthful in your entire practice of your entire life. Carrying Charya is actually practicing or carrying oneself through Brahma. Brahma means the ultimate truth or ultimate purity. So celibacy is part of it. So, but celibacy does not mean that I will not have kids. I have two boys. Right?
Yeah.
Celibacy is to remain perfectly honest with your partner and so on. Right? And but for monks and nuns, of course, much stricter rules. So monk and nun cannot be alone in one room, for example, in Jainism or in Buddhism. So that kind of, again, gradation of Brahmacharya, gradation of Satya, gradation of non-violence, and so on.
I
so
feel
these are
like
the five great vows of Jainism.
There's some like correlation with the yamas in
yes,
Yoga
of
Sutra.
course.
So like if
they're
you could
exact
explain
same.
if you could explain the connection or like
exact same. Yama and Niyama also cover these five Mahavratas in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. I'm sure you studied with Professor Edwin Bryant, who wrote a whole book on Yoga Sutra. So you're absolutely correct. So those are exact same words: Satya, Ahimsa, Asteya, Aparigraha, and Brahmacharya. So exact same. No difference. So same practice, same
it's so interesting how they're all like interconnected and
they're
like intertwined
pan-Indian
pretty
tradition,
much.
pan-Indian values, exactly.
Yeah.
Yoga traditions, Jain tradition, Buddhist tradition, they're for the humanity, not just for Hindus, not just for Jains, not just for Buddhists, not just for Indians, not just for South Asians, they're for everybody. And yoga is now practiced so widely in America. It's like a multi-billion-dollar business in the US. So people are trying to do physically, but the goal should be now do yoga ethically, do yoga environmentally, do yoga spiritually, do yoga linguistically. Go to the roots of these words. What is Yama? What is Niyama?
Are being lost.
Yes, Yama means self-control. Niyama means rules and regulations. right? Satya, like I explained, Satya. What is
Yeah.
Ahimsa? Aparigraha. Asteya. Asteya means to steal. So Asteya, non-stealing. Brahmacharya word also I explained Charya. So linguistically also we need to become yogis, right? Culturally,
Yeah.
physically, mentally, spiritually. It's the whole
The
process.
same could be said about the Gita too. It's not just for like a particular religion or sect. It's for
Yes, yes,
an
absolutely,
entire
absolutely,
humanity.
absolutely, absolutely. Yes, yes. So Gita was translated, because you touched upon the subject. So
Yeah.
Gita was translated first time in English by a British officer, British governor, Warren Hastings, right? So,
Right.
and then that just led to the entire this wave of new literature in Europe called the Romanticism. The whole
Hmm.
movement started in literature because of the Bhagavad Gita, because of Kalidas, the
Oh,
text written by
really?
Kalidas,
I wasn't
Abhigyan
aware of that.
Shakuntalam. When they discovered Indian literature
Yeah.
in translation, the whole Europe was like wave of this new literature creation in German, in English, in French, and so on.
Right.
There are books, academic books on this. I'm not making it up. There are books
Oh, of
written on
course.
this. The Oriental Enlightenment happened partly because as they discovered these great literary traditions in India, China, and other parts of the world, South America, and so on.
Hmm.
So there's lot. So it's for entire humanity, like you said. Yes.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about Anekantavada.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
the
Sure.
the Jain idea that truth is many-sided feels like
Mm-hmm.
the antidote to everything wrong with social media and polarized discourse. But how do you hold multiple truths without becoming someone with no convictions at all? So if you could like dive a little bit into Anekantavada and then like answer
Yes.
that question.
So yeah, I didn't touch upon Anekantavada
Yeah,
yet. So Jainism rests on these five pillars, five great vows
right.
I already explained. And Jainism also has this great idea such as Anekantavad, which we can discuss now. So Anekantavad, again, if you break the word, an, ek, ant, vad. Anek, ant, vad. Anek means not one, many.
More
So
than
like I said, all these Jain words they start with negation.
right.
Not one, many, anek. Ant means goals or points. Ant.
Mhm.
Vad means doctrines. So doctrine of many pointedness. So doctrine where there is no doctrine, there is no single doctrine.
Right.
I can have a window to the truth, a glance to the truth, a glimpse at the truth, but
Hmm.
not the full truth, complete comprehensive truth in my lifetime with my limited intellect and my limited understanding is almost impossible to get.
Right.
When I insist on my version of truth, I have to remember that everybody else has their own version of truth. Jerusalem is as much as for Jews as it is for Muslims, as it is for Christians. If
Right.
all three can come to the same that understanding, there would be no conflict for that we are witnessing, because Jesus was crucified there, so it's holy for Christians.
Right.
Prophet Muhammad arose there and saw the past prophets and Allah, so it's holy for Muslims.
Right.
For Jewish people, that's where their ancient temple was. So of course, it is most holy site for Jewish people. So if that common understanding, everybody can come to one agreement, all these conflicts will immediately vanish. So that
Like
is what Anekantavad teaches.
accepting that there can be multiple
Yes.
perspectives or truths at
Yes,
once.
yes. And I don't have monopoly on truth until I become enlightened, until I become the Buddha
Right.
or
And
Mahavir,
that's
or that would take many,
yeah.
many lifetimes, or Jesus Christ.
Right.
Until I have that kind of enlightenment, that kind of liberation, full liberation, I cannot insist on my version, the only way, my way or highway. That's not the way to do. And it reminds me also, Anekantavad also connects with an extremely interesting and popular parable across South Asia and Asia. One elephant being touched by six blind people. How will they touch? So the blind person that touched the trunk of the elephant
Mm-hmm.
thought it's a large rope,
Mm.
right? Blind person that touched the belly of the elephant thought it's a large wall, right?
Right.
Blind person that touched the tusk of the elephant thought it's a large, sharp, pointed spear.
Right.
Everybody was right in their own perspective. But as they combined all these perspectives, then probably they can realize what a large, comprehensively what elephant is. So that's how
So
we
they
need
all
to
thought that they
reconcile.
were right, but
Right.
it
If
wasn't
they
the
start
complete
fighting,
truth.
they will never reach the truth. But as
Yeah.
they combine these perspectives, they arrive at their final truth. So that is what Anekantavad teaches.
Okay. So how do you hold all these truths at once without becoming someone with no convictions at all? like if you firmly believe in something, how can you just avoid getting drowned in like all these like different ones and not hold on to the one thing that you believe in? If
Yeah,
you
so it's okay to have one conviction, but with the humility that not my conviction is not the only conviction. My version is not the full truth. I have
Right,
limited understanding. I can live my life according to that understanding, that conviction.
right.
So does other, right?
Yeah.
The other person has
Having
equal
that
right to
respect.
respect and humility and coexistence. Yes,
Right.
that is all.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Sure.
So lastly, if a
Mhm.
listener today wants to go deeper into Hindu or Jain philosophy but doesn't know where to start, what is the one text, one practice, and one question that they should sit with? It's very
Right, right.
important.
Yes, yes. So for my own, beyond the academic discussions
Yeah.
and, podcasts and so on, I remain very active in making, shorts and reels and so on. But what I do for my own practice is I took mantra diksha, that is spiritual initiation with a mantra many, many years back. In just before I was leaving India and coming to US,
Oh,
I already took that initiative. So I do every evening I sit for spiritual music live sessions coming from India on
wow.
YouTube. Thanks to YouTube, I can now reconnect with
Yeah.
my guru, my Hindu guru, and
Yeah.
my have this practice. Even though I was born in a Jain family, I have Hindu practice, and as I do my Jain practice as well. My
Right.
father was a very strong, convinced Jain, connected practicing
Yeah.
Jain. My mother is a practicing Hindu, so I got best of both
Oh,
worlds. So I
wow.
try to do both practices. So that I do every evening: spiritual music, arti, bhajans, and meditation, and so on. So that's part of my own practice. So I'm just sharing a
Okay.
little bit.
Yeah.
And what people of your generation probably can do is, like I said, I think I would again say that start with academic books.
Mm-hmm.
Start with the that book that I mentioned earlier also. Winthrop Sargent translated the entire Bhagavad Gita from
Okay.
Sanskrit to English in a Sunni press edition more than 25 years back. That is the best translation because it does not have any bias towards dualistic, non-dualistic, bhakti, gyan, karma, all those biases he did not have. So that's a one book that I followed as I made series of videos on the entire Bhagavad Gita, taking 7 verses each Sunday.
Right.
And so these verses I translated from Sanskrit to English live on YouTube without any script or anything, just relying on that book. I translated on YouTube, and that entire series is available on my channel called Discover India Bharat Darshan on YouTube, and my handle is Prof Pankaj Jain. So maybe start with that, and keep learning each verse at a time. That could be a good way to start also. And as I alluded to, my courses, my larger courses are available also on Swayambhu platform and other elsewhere. So maybe start with that and take one step at a time, take small step, and it's okay to, keep going slow, but steady progress is what I think will help everyone.
And like you said, having that curiosity, I think, is
Having
very
that
important
curiosity,
to
asking
drive well.
questions, yes, yes,
Yeah.
and ask question each other also. Quiz each other
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
Your siblings, your parents. Do you know
Yeah.
this? I discovered this. Can I share this
Yeah.
with you? And ask them to ask similar
Right.
questions. So that's a healthy debate, healthy competition, and for enriching each other. That's
Right.
what we do. That's what we still do at our dinner times.
That's beautiful. So this was such a rich conversation. Thank you for being so generous with your time and knowledge. It was truly very insightful for both me and everyone who's going to listen to this, hopefully. And for everyone listening, Professor Jain, like he said, also hosts his own podcast called Discover India, where he goes deeper into Indian culture, religion, music, and sustainability. So we're actually cross-publishing these 2 episodes that we're going to release. So you'll be able to find a version of this on his channel as well. I'll drop all the links in the show notes. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear this because I feel like everyone needs to hear this because in this day and age, like we need this
Mm.
kind of knowledge to to have a more like balanced life. So thank you, Professor Jane.
Thank you, Shelly. And last words, I guess, is that we have very limited time on this planet,
Yeah.
right? And so what footprints we can leave right after we are gone. So that's one idea that also keeps me always, going ahead and keep doing this kind of work. So thank you again for reminding me and reconnecting me with my, entire past life and so on. I would love to keep sharing all these ideas.
Yes, and
Valuable.
I'd love to connect with you in the future as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.